Welcome or welcome back. I'm Heather and I like to do things. So let's get into it and find out what Heather did today. So I started with this desk. It was given to me by a cousin. He had bought it for when he was staying with his mom while she was sick and he was getting rid of it. And my son was like, yes, I want it. So I am making it over. And it's not a very high, I mean, it's functional. It's not an expensive desk, it's not fancy, but it is what it is. So the first step was to tape everything off. I did clean it, I just didn't show that because that part's, I'm showing taping. I didn't record the cleaning. I just used vinegar and water and degreased it really well on the top where, he would have his arms while he was working. Taped everything off because I'm not going to do anything to the legs. Those are going to stay the way they are. And my first step was to cover the whole piece with Dixie Belle's Slick Stick. I didn't do any scuff sanding, anything like that. I just went in with Slick Stick. And you don't have to worry about it being an extremely good first layer. You're just getting that on. But I did 2 layers total of Slick Stick. Just coated everything really well. And this will actually give you a really good surface that will hold paint really well. Okay, so for painting, I'm going with Cobalt by Dixie Belle, and my son picked it out. It's his favorite color. Like, he picks it. You've seen it before if you've watched anything else on my channel, because that's the color he always picks. The sewing table I did, we used Cobalt. And your first coat doesn't have to be all that great. You just can put it on, spread it out really good. I did 2 total coats on this and then like a little spot coat on the top. If there's anywhere I felt wasn't covered well, but I didn't really have too many problems with it. You get great coverage. Now, here's a mistake not to make. I waited too long in between my mistings, so I misted it. It's very dry where I live, but I misted it and then started painting, and then I waited too long. So when I missed it again, you can see like towards where I started, I went over with the paintbrush. It lifted some of that paint. It's easy to fix. You just, when you do your second coat, you won't notice it, but it's easier if you don't do that in the first place. Yeah, so just be aware of that, especially if you live in a really dry environment. Okay, here's where we are on the desk. My son wanted to do one big Snorlax in the middle and then like fan art around the side. So over here, I actually tried the reverse graphics transfer method. Okay, quick interruption because here's what happened. Okay, so I started this project back in like January, late December, early January. I don't really remember. And I was like, this is gonna be really quick. Paint the top blue. I bought some Miss Lillian's image transfer cream to do some images on the top instead of decoupaging. I was like, we'll try that. I didn't know how it'd work with the blue, but And then my son was like, oh no, I want to put Pokemon cards on the top and then epoxy over the Pokemon cards. And I was like, well, January is probably too cold for that. And I need to do some research because I've never done that. So doing research, I don't think that would have worked well with this particular type of desk. So we went back to image transfer. So I started looking for the image transfer cream. I looked and I looked and I looked and I looked. Couldn't find it anywhere. And I was like, I must have just forgotten. My dogs are rustling under the trampoline. So they're in the shade. It's really cute. Anyway, so I was like, I must have just mistaken it. I thought about buying it and I didn't buy it. That's what's going through my head. I thought about buying it, but I didn't actually buy it. So I tried the image transfer with Mod Podge. You'll see the results of that in a second. Anyway, getting out paints for another project, I found the image transfer cream. Yep, and when I was making this video, I found the video I made about the image transfer cream that showed that I did, in fact, have it. I did buy it. And and if you're wondering where I put it with all my paints and stuff so I could find it when I needed it. So I put it where it goes and then couldn't find it. And I'm just curious right now, does this happen to other people? Does this, if this happens to you, could you comment below so I don't feel absolutely crazy? Okay, back to our program, which it's not terrible. And I didn't know that it would work all that well because this is so dark, but I was like, you know what, I'll try it. And neither of us is all that crazy about it, so I haven't changed it yet because I haven't decided what I'm going to do. I may paint over it. I may decoupage with that. I don't know, but that's sitting there. And then this is going to be for the middle, so I just sketched out a Snorlax. I had a template to use. I didn't just freehand that. But I sketched that out and then printed it, like, and taped it together. I would, because I didn't do this up here, leave a little bit of overlap. It's just easier to line everything up and tape it. And then I'm going to cover the back with pencil, and then you trace over it to get, you know, the outline on here, and then I'm going to paint it. So let's get started. We'll see how that goes. All right, and here I have my Snorlax all taped down so it doesn't shift on me. And I'm using a Sharpie because it's got a rounded end. Like, you want something that will transfer the pencil onto your surface but not dig in. So I just used a Sharpie. And you just trace your whole Snorlax in Sharpie. It's got the pencil underneath, so it'll transfer that. It's not lead. I know it's graphite before somebody says it, but it'll transfer those lead markings onto your surface, and then you can paint with that. And then I lift it up to show you once I finish, but you can't actually see it on screen. But it's okay, I can see it. So that's all that really matters. These are the 4 colors my son picked for Snorlax. Now, if you're like, oh, there we go. Did I already have ink spot? Yes. Yes, I did. But did I buy it again? Also, yes. Because that's how things go. And I think I'm going to start with, I don't know. I want to start with the belly and the feet. I think I may start with the belly and the feet. So, okay. And I'm going to leave this tape just in case I have any problems. I just lift that up and look. Okay, so here is how I did this. And this is my first time ever doing something like this, like painting a character. So if you have any thoughts, I would love to hear about it, because I never really practiced painting things because I was told I wasn't a very good artist when I was younger. So I believed that. The lies we believe. Anyway, I use this small brush and you can see the pencil outline when my shadow's in there. And that's what I'm following. And I'm just very carefully going over it using this brush. And I did 2 coats with like a spot touch up of this color. And we'll go a little bit faster. And you'll see Snorlax start to magically appear. And I'm pretty happy with how it came out. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like, what If you have experience with this, what would make it better? Also, I just realized I couldn't find my shoes, so I got those out. Oh, my shoes. There's Ollie. Look how big he's getting. And then there's Hippie. Hi, Hippie. Then I started painting the rest of his body, and if you notice, I immediately noticed this, that blue probably isn't gonna work. So I went ahead and painted these two little sections, and then conferred with my son, and he agreed, and I picked a different blue, just a darker blue that I think it's actually just called navy blue that I already had. And I think it works really well. Snorlax comes together. So I did this part, and then I do his little details like his foot and then his claws and such. You get a lot of pictures of my shoulder. That's my concentration face. For Snorlax's outline, I actually chose to do a Sharpie. I know how to get Sharpie off of things. I can clean up a Sharpie. I was just nervous about a paint pen. I haven't used them that much. So I thought I was less likely to make a serious mistake with my Sharpie. So I just outlined him. And I love how the outlining brings everything together. Like, he just starts to look so cute. And I did have to move around a lot. Like, I just tried to get in the position that I felt would be easiest to draw the line that I wanted. So that's why I'm shifting around all the time. Also, I was trying to stay out of the way of the camera, but I didn't really do that. See? Look, shoulder! Ah, I even hit the camera. But I did, believe it or not, I did go through and cut out most of the scenes where it was just my shoulder. So. But look how cute he is. He's all coming together. Ah, I'm so happy with him. And if you've made it this far and you're enjoying this content, please leave me a like down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, because those help me out. Also, if you're interested in other ways to support my channel, I do have links to my Amazon wishlist and buy me a coffee down below if you would like to. And here's my finished Snorlax. I really like him. I think he looks really cute. Okay, so I didn't want to actually, I'll talk about the decoupage in a second. I didn't want to smudge anything, so my first 2 coats of top coat, which are just polyacrylic, were sprayed on, which is super easy if you have a sprayer. And so just sprayed an even coat, let it dry, a little bit of sanding, sprayed a second coat. Now the decoupage I didn't show because I'm not great at decoupaging, but it looks okay. There are pictures I printed, there some fan art that my son really liked, and I made sure to thin the paper out. You use the packing tape. You use packing tape and you like pull it off and you pull the backing off. So it's real thin, and then I decoupaged it down. Some things I think I should have done better. If you look right here, you can see you can see where, just from the decoupaging, where that texture is. So I should have sanded that a little bit better and maybe even painted over that just after I sanded to smooth that out, but I didn't. And before I brush on the rest of the top coat, I'm just giving it a quick little sand. And then wiped it down, and then I'm going to brush my poly on. So it's just polyacrylic, brushing it on. And I think I did like 3 more coats, so a total of like 5 coats of top coat. When brushing on your polyacrylic, something that's really important to keep in mind is that you don't want to overwork an area, Brush it on, make sure it's smooth, no air bubbles, and move on. Don't keep working it. Also, once you have an area and it starts to dry, do not go back and do anything with that. Even if you notice something, really just try to leave it alone, because if you take your brush back through it, you're probably going to drag it and you'll leave drag marks. Anything else you do, you just tend to cause problems for yourself. So I tend to just leave it, and then if I need to sand something, I can sand it once it's dry, and then I can fix something in the recoat. And here's the final desktop. The fan art. I'll see if I can find the ones he copied and put links below to the originals. I did put some gilding wax on the little plastic piece in the corner just to make it prettier. I don't know. Also, I changed my entire plan for this reveal because as I was recording it, my son started putting all of his little Pokemon on there. He's collecting the starters. And so we had to show you all of them. All of them. He's slowly trying to collect them. He didn't have this plant, so he's going around his room and collecting them. And there's Snorlax. We actually have a lot of stuffed Snorlaxes and other Snorlax figures and other things because he very much loves Snorlax. So I'm curious, what's your favorite Pokemon? Comment below with your favorite Pokemon. And thank you for joining us, and stay tuned to find out what Heather does next time.